Hi everyone, it's AngelBlade13. Welcome back to my Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix walkthrough. In the last episode, we finished the main story portion of the game, so now we're gonna move on to a bunch of the different mini-games and everything there. As I mentioned, this is a Jiminy's Journal walkthrough, so there's a ton of extra stuff we can do. Some of it didn't actually open up until we beat the final boss, so we're gonna go ahead and tackle all that now. As you notice, the save file has that nice little crown next to it. Okay, so as we can see here, certain things have been unlocked now that we've actually completed the game. So, we can take a quick look through the journal and see the general rundown of what we have left to accomplish. Okay, so if we take a look, we can see the only thing we've really done is completed the Ansem reports and the Nobodies section. So there's quite a few other things we have. A lot of them are kind of like connected to each other, so doing one will also work towards completing another. So we're gonna get started on that. The first thing I'm gonna do is level up all of Sora's drive forms. So I'm gonna start off with Final Form because we'll get some additional form boost abilities that we can equip on Sora's normal state. I'm also going to equip the Oathkeeper Keyblade because it has the form boost as its primary ability. So the more form boost abilities we have stacked, the more time obviously we can spend in the form, and we don't have to spend as much time getting back to a save point, so we can leave the world, re-enter, and come in with a full drive gauge. So the majority of the action abilities don't matter as much because they don't apply really while you're in one of your forms. It's just really the support abilities that you have. So for Final Form, remember it levels up by defeating nobodies. So we want to focus on quantity over quality. Doesn't matter how strong the nobody enemy is, you'll get 1 point for destroying. So what I like to do is come to this area in the world that never was, and we get just a ton of creeper nobodies. They are very easy to defeat, so they level up the form pretty quickly. As we see there, I'm already at level 3. And I also still have the Bond of Flame Keyblade and just make use of Faraga throughout, because with Final Form Faraga is really just, it's kind of broken, and because it uses so little MP, it's really helpful. This is another area in World That Never Was where you just get a ton of creeper nobodies. So really, both areas are really good options, so you can pick either one of them. And it's probably the best place to start. These are likely the quickest places to level up the forms, and again, the enemies are very weak. They don't do a lot of damage, and you can take them out with very little effort. And then once you run out of the enemies, just make sure that you make it back to a save point before your drive gauge runs out. So the area in the World That Never Was is the fastest way to level up Final Form because the enemies are weaker. But going to the tower in Twilight Town is going to be a little bit more helpful to us if we do it that way. So I recommend after you get to, say, level 3 or 4 on Final Form that you either go to the top or the bottom of the tower and just go all the way to the other side, really. You get a bunch of nobody enemies to deal with, and doing it this way, we're getting a bit of a head start on some of our level grinding, some of our synthesis grinding, which both of those are very tedious portions of the endgame section, so sort of getting as many things done at once is going to be helpful to us in the long run. So after going over each method, I'm just going to do the rest of the grinding off screen, but I'll go over each particular drive form. Next, I'm going to level up Master Form. Master Form levels up by collecting drive orbs. So for Sora's primary Keyblade, I'm going to put on Sweet Memories, which has the Drive Converter ability. This basically replaces HP and MP balls with Drive Orbs. And I'm going to put the Wishing Lamp Keyblade on Master Form, because it has the Jackpot ability. This will increase the rate of what enemies drop. So when you have both of them equipped, basically instead of HP and MP balls, the enemies are going to be dropping a lot more money and Drive Orbs. So in Kingdom Hearts 2 Original, what I would do is just go to Land of Dragons, and I would just basically go in this room here and attack some of the Assault Riders. They drop a good deal of Drive Orbs when you beat them. And you can use some of the explosives by like running through the camp areas, because those drop a decent portion too. So let's take a look here. Let's defeat these enemies. And there, I've already got level 2. I didn't expect it to level up this fast here. But there's actually a much faster solution on leveling Master Form. So we're gonna head back to this room in the tower.
Give me strength!
So in this room, we only deal with Gambler Nobodies. And what we want to do is don't attack them at all. You just want to keep playing their mini-games and make sure you don't mess it up. The dice one's a little bit easier in my opinion. And we're just gonna keep doing this. Again, don't attack them, just use the games. And by this method, with Sweet Memories and Wishing Lamp equipped, we get a ton of Drive Orbs and a ton of money. So if you need funds for anything, then this will also help you out with that. If you do happen to mess up any of their mini-games, you get turned into a die or a card. You just kind of want to run around. Well, you can't really run, but you just want to just move around and just avoid their attacks as best as you can until you turn back into regular Sora. Well, Master Form Sora, but yeah, you know what I mean. And doing it this way, you honestly shouldn't even have to get to a save point if you're starting from Master Form at level 1, you should be able to get it to level 7 all in one attempt, because they keep dropping the Drive Orbs at a very fast rate, and so it just keeps filling back up. Obviously try not to take too much damage. Alright, so I'm just going to speed the rest of this section up. This is just so you can see that I did it all with one use of Master Form. Okay, so now that that's done, just defeat these guys if you feel like, or you can just leave and head to your next objective. Alright, so there's something kind of special over here in Disney Castle waiting for us. There's a special portal here. You can examine it if you want. Some of you know what this is, and you probably know why I'm not doing it right now. That's literally going to be the very last thing that I do in this game, so stick around for that if you don't know what it is yet.
Let's go!
Anyway, I'm going to Final Form just to lower my anti-points. Next, we're going to be leveling up Wisdom Form. Wisdom Form levels up by defeating Heartless enemies. So, again, quantity over quality. You want to find areas with a lot of weaker Heartless enemies. The first sections in the world that never was, where you were just getting nothing but shadows, that area doesn't work very well. I think it's after you beat Xemnas, the first fight with him. I actually am not 100% sure. I forgot. But some other good areas. Basically, 2 of the rooms in Timeless River. This room here, we got a good deal of the weaker enemies. So I'm just gonna basically go through here, just keep spamming my magic, beating these guys. See, we got a bunch of shadows and some soldier enemies. Pretty easy to deal with. I only really use the shot now because I'm trying not to waste too many ethers, because obviously I'm gonna need them for later things. But then just run back to the save point, get your MP back, and then this section here has a good deal of... they're not necessarily the weakest Heartless, but it's a pretty decent area where you can grind up the form a little bit. Actually, the car enemies are much more of a pain to deal with. Then, not necessarily in one of the rooms, but in the pier area where we first... that boss fight that we had against past Pete, that also has a decent amount, so... those are 3 areas in Timeless River that are pretty effective on helping level up Wisdom Form.
Give me strength.
What might be a bit of a better option, and one that'll help us a bit more for grinding, for synthesis grinding, is this area in Agrabah, where we have a bunch of the fiery globe enemies right here. Again, very little effort to defeat. And they'll be giving us some good synthesis items we need later. Definitely have stronger Heartless here that we can deal with too, but you want to get as many as you can before the form runs out. And there are some somewhat weak enemies here, like we have some of the silver rocks that are okay. You may want to skip them for now though, or that room as a whole. Actually, you know what, go to that room and just run to near the end section. Then here, near the Cave of Wonders entrance, we have some good ones. So this is just a sort of long path. This one's going to be very tedious to do, similar to Final Form, but it's what we got to do. So, once you have the gauge leveled up a bit more, you can also head into the actual Cave of Wonders. There are a bunch more of the silver rocks and fiery globes. So you have a couple different options on how you want to level the form up, and you might want to just mix it up. Just go to each different section so it maybe feels a little bit less tedious. All that really depends on you. So pick your favorite area, or just go through all of them. In the case that there were any Heartless enemies you somehow missed, then this would be a good way to find some more of them and make sure you get their entries. But you probably saw everything right now. But, you never know. Sometimes weird things happen. In case you weren't necessarily fighting every enemy you came across. So now moving on, we're gonna level up Valor Form. Valor Form levels up by hitting enemies. Doesn't matter which type of enemy it is. Heartless, nobodies, the pirate enemies, whatever. It's going to continue leveling up. So it's easily the easiest form to level up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to equip the Oathkeeper again on my main, and I'm going to put on the Starseeker Keyblade on the secondary for Valor. And this is the easiest method of leveling up Valor form. This mushroom here is not going to retaliate. It just, once you activate its game, it just sort of floats there, and its health is going to keep regenerating. So what we do is I use the square attack to jump into an air combo, and I just want to keep hitting the X button. I didn't mean to do that finisher there, just because it takes more time to do, and it will do more damage to the actual mushroom itself. So if you want the path of least resistance on leveling the form, then this is what you do. If you don't defeat this thing, I think it's like a minute and 20 seconds or something around there, maybe a minute 40. And then it'll, if you take that long, it'll just sort of end the game. But you can just keep hitting it like this until the form levels up. And you have a save point right in the next room, so just make it back there when you feel you're low. What I'm going to do instead, though, is walk to the area where, in Beast Castle, where we fought the Thresholder and Possessor. We start off with a bunch of the Gargoyle Heartless enemies, so it doesn't really matter what type of enemies you are fighting again. This is just, again, this is a good area that'll get me started on synth grinding in a section. So I'm just going to go through here, and then I'm basically just going to follow the underground, with a secret pathway that we went through before where we did that mini game. Didn't mean to go this way, but whatever, I'll just deal with these guys. There are a bunch of enemies here, basically, that we can deal with that'll give us a good shot. But we're gonna start here and go down the pathway to Beast's room. So we got a couple weak enemies here. Start off with these guys. Saying weak because they're like almost knocking me out. So obviously the large bodies are a little bit more annoying to deal with than hammer frame enemies, but at this point you should be leveled up high enough that it shouldn't be too much of an issue, particularly with Valor form going into your instant finishers.
Take this. This is it. It's over.
You can fight the enemies in this quick section if you feel like, but there I did it, but usually I'll just run through it. I feel like they're kind of a waste to do. Anyway, but we've got a couple more weaker enemies here. So, you know, for Valor form, you know, just find any world you feel like going to. If you, see, you know, what was your favorite world that you went to, and you know, just level up the form there, or just kind of go through everywhere. Try to make it less tedious on yourself. Leveling all these forms can get kind of frustrating at times, but it'll really help in the long run. Alright, so the final form we have to level up is Limit form. So I'm going to go back to having Oathkeeper on my main. And this mushroom, again, is the path of least resistance for leveling it up. What you want to do is activate the game, and then head back to this corner here, and we're just going to keep using Sonic Rave. Sonic Rave costs the least amount of Sora's MP, so we can use it 3 times, whereas everything else will just get us 2. And standing in that corner there, your drive gauge goes down slower for some reason. Anyway, what I'm going to do instead, though, is I'm going to go to this area here in Olympus, or the underworld, really, and I'm just going to be fighting the different enemies, and Limit form levels up by just using the finisher of the different limit commands. So again, we're using Sonic Rave because it costs the least MP, and we can use it the most before we have to go into MP recharge or use the This area in particular is good for it because one is for some of the synth items that are more annoying to get, and two is because of all the souls floating around that you can hit for extra MP orbs.
This is it. It's over. Let's go. It's over.
Alright, I won't necessarily show you me doing the whole room again, so we're just getting this done here. Once the form has leveled up a good amount, you can also go into this room leading up to Hades' chamber. Because dealing with some of the minute bombs, again, also kind of weak enemies that don't put up that much of a fight. Really, all you just have to watch out for their self-destruct explosion thing. That's kind of annoying. It can do a lot of damage. These enemies, also kind of weak. They're just using Infinity because it looks cool. But, whichever of your forms you're getting to, just make sure you have good timing with the different commands. It can be a bit weird sometimes, and you don't want to rush don't just mash the triangle button too much. So, now that all of our forms are leveled up, we still have our summon gauge that we want to get to max. The way your summons level up is, while you have them out, your gauge will go down slowly. And once one bar has gone down, that'll give the summon 1 point of experience. You can also use your limits to make that go by a little bit faster, but as Sora does damage to an enemy, you can help bring the gauge back up. So what we want to do is, first I'm going to obviously put on the summon boost ability to have the summon gauge go down slower. And what we want to do is put Faraga in your shortcuts. I'm gonna summon Stitch.
Let's go!
And we're gonna use this mushroom again because it's gonna do this just a lot faster than using them normally. And so Stitch is flying around the screen, just kind of doing his thing. What I'm gonna do is wait for my gauge to get sort of just under 6 there, and we want to sort of time it so our gauge goes back up. There, I messed it up a bit. So we want it basically flickering between being almost full and just about to go down to the next gauge, if that makes sense. There, I'm kind of flickering the gauge back between 5 and 6. So each time it goes down to 5, I get 1 point of experience rather than just letting it go the full way down. It's kind of weird. I might be explaining it bad, but you can kind of see what's happening there. Technically, we can do this with any summon, but Stitch is the one that will, since Stitch recovers our MP, it's a lot easier with him. And again, we don't have to waste ethers on it. So the timing takes some time to get used to, obviously. I still don't necessarily do it perfectly all the time, but there I'm getting a decent amount. So Faraga used up a very small amount of MP, and it does multiple hits, so it's pretty helpful for doing this. Okay, I think you guys understand how it works, but, you know, if there's any questions on leveling up your summon or any of your drive forms, let me know in the comments. Okay, so now I have got all of my drive forms and my summon gauge at level 7, which is the highest we can get to. I'm going to start competing in some of these tournaments again. So we'll take a quick look in our journal, and we go down to the mission section. The missions have a lot of different mini games inside them, but you notice some of them, they say try it, and some also want you to get to a certain score. So we'll go into a lot more detail on these a little bit later, but we're just going to focus on the Underdrome tournaments for right now. So for Pain and Panic, you need a score of 2,000 or more. Cerberus, 1,000. the Titan Cup, we need 5,000 or more. And then there's the Goddess of Fate, which we haven't done yet. So, if we remember, I was just short of 2,000 in the Pain and Panic Cup, where we have to... that one where they want us to use our limits. Cerberus, I got the score of 1,000, so I'm not going to do that one again. If you didn't do it before, your drive gauges at their current level, you should have no issues with it. The Titan Cup is a bit frustrating, and you have to kind of use a strategy you really wouldn't use outside in a regular battle. And then the Goddess of Fate Cup we'll handle shortly. And so it gets a turn. We're gonna go back to the Oblivion Keyblade, so we can battle in some of the different matches. What you do with your other, what you put on your other forms is kind of up to you at this point. I'm not gonna be really using my forms too much, except for one of them. I'm not redoing the Cerberus Cup. There, 1924. I need 2,000 for it. So I'm gonna do the Pain and Panic Cup again, but I don't think you guys need to see all of it, since now I'm more than double the level requirement I should be at for it. So I think I'll get through it pretty easily. I'll give a tip if you're having trouble making the score. Make sure you have Jackpot on everyone, and try to finish off enemies with Magnet. That tends to help me out a lot with getting my score up pretty high.
Gather!
There, I'll just let you guys see the final match though. Look how quickly I can demolish their health bars, and I already got more than those life score that I need.
Give me strength! This is it!
Alright, quick look back in the journal, and we can see there I got the 2,000 points. Now, the Titan Cup is where things can get a little tricky. So, this is kind of the only way I've ever been able to get the required score for this tournament. But if you have other methods, then please share them in the comments. I'd love to know. I'm going to make sure that I have Summon Boost and Combination Boost on Sora, and of course the Jackpot abilities. Now, I'm going to be using a very specific strategy, and I'm pretty much going to do the same thing every round until I get the required score that I need. So right when the match starts, I'm going to move backwards. I'm going to summon Stitch, just kind of dodge around for a little bit, and then use his limit. I'm only going to be hitting the square button, because that'll be helping knock some points out of the enemies, and it won't do damage to them. Then sometimes just try dodging around for a little bit, and dodge the attacks the best that you can. Sometimes Stitch will use the ukulele on his own, which will drop more points. And then before it runs out, you want to use Stitch's limit a second time. Again, you only want to use the square button so you don't do any damage to the enemies. Then we're going to summon Peter Pan.
Our turn?
Try to get the enemies in a group as best as you can, and immediately use his limit. So now, doing it this way, we're getting a ton of points. We can already see with one round, I'm already at half of what my total was the first time I did this. Granted, I'm a lot stronger, and I have some better abilities to deal with it, but using it this way is kind of, again, it's the only way I know how to get the score high enough. Otherwise, you tend not to get anywhere close. Maybe just, I didn't even break 2,000 last time. So, again, we want to just do this every round. If you're still having trouble reaching the score, then definitely equip the wishing lamp on your
Let's go.
on as your primary keyblade. Another thing to mention is this kind of applies for all the tournaments, really, but the final round of the tournament doesn't give you any points, so if you go into that fight and you don't have enough, then if you're trying to get the required score, then you may want to restart because you're not going to make it from defeating the boss. Kind of like how most bosses in this game, well, the boss enemies in this game don't give you experience, they just give you your get bonuses. So, similar to that, basically, get the points you need by the 9th round of the tournament, otherwise you won't meet the mission requirement. Alright, so I think you guys get how to get a pretty good score in this tournament now, so I'm just gonna skip to the end. So we can see I've made it to the final round. I've gotten above the 5,000 that I need. Do remember for this tournament that you have the point gauge that lowers every time Sora takes damage. You can't recover any of those points, so again, just be careful with it. Having Stitch out helps a lot because he will block several enemy attacks. He can't block everything. I'm pretty sure he can't block attacks from like the Devastators or the Berserkers, but a lot of the weaker enemies will be able to just completely block out for you. You don't have to worry about much. So just be careful. So checking in the journal again, now I have that Mickey Mouse emblem to show that I've made the requirement. And now there's one more tournament that we haven't competed in yet. So for this tournament here, you want to be fairly high level. For your abilities, kind of go with whatever your preferred setup is. I do still suggest keeping Jackpot and your summon boost on, because I think you'll need them, but that's still a bit optional. This tournament doesn't really emphasize one particular combat method. You have everything available to you. Donald and Goofy are back in your team, so they can help you out. You can use any of your limits, any of your summons, any of your drive forms. And every round it's going to change a little bit, so you gotta get used to each particular thing. See, some enemies will spawn in after you defeat the first wave. Again, try to sometimes defeat things with Magnet. That can make a difference in how many points you get at the end. So now with this round, you see, we can still use everything, but now we have a time limit. So the time limit doesn't carry over like in the previous tournaments. It's just for this one, we gotta defeat the enemies. And then we're gonna switch rules when we get to the next round. And now we have our point system again, so we wanna do our best to avoid getting hit. We have much less this time since it only applies to this one particular round.
Take that! It's over!
So the enemies are decently leveled up at this point, but none of them are enemies that we haven't dealt with in the past. So, you know, you have a good sense of how you prefer fighting them. Deal with them whatever way you think is the best method to get rid of them. it is if you're just going for completing the tournament and, you know, obviously make use of Peter Pan when you need to, because that's the best way to farm out a lot more points.
Heal. Give me strength.
Careful on your health, because while they, again, while they're things we've dealt with before, they can still do a decent amount of damage.
Back off.
Particularly these things.
Gotta fly. It's over. This is it. Take this.
This round's not too difficult, it's just semi-annoying if you try to just attack in a random way, so I'm just gonna immediately use Donald's Duck Flare to get through them. A lot of it can override the large body and the Fat Bandit's invincibility from the front. So not invincibility, but their strong guard from the front, let's just call it. So, again, I'm summoning Peter Pan quite often, just to kind of make sure I have a good deal of points. If you need to, remember you have any one of your drive forms, especially Final Form, that can help demolish almost everything in this tournament pretty easily. So, and any of your drive forms, again, give you the full MP and HP regeneration, so whenever you're in a pretty tight spot, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put auto limit on, auto form ability for whichever form you prefer. Alright, so we got some annoying enemies to deal with in the second to last round, but I think we can handle it pretty easily.
Back off.
Thank you, Donald.
Back off.
And then for the last round, we have another fight against Hades. You notice he starts off with some random enemies helping him out. As the instructions say, you can ignore them because they'll just keep spawning in. At least that's what I think, because I never really pay attention to them that much. But Hades is pretty much the same as the second time we fought him, but he doesn't go into his red mode. So it's a lot easier.
Is it happening?
We did it!
Alright, so we got through that tournament, and let's just take a quick check on the missions. Score was of 3,000 or more, which I did, so I do not have to do that again. Awesome. And as a reward, I got a new Keyblade, which we'll talk about in later episodes. That's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a comment, share with a friend, all the good stuff. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!